Welcome to episode 5 of Wiser. This is the We Like Pizza version, and it features cookies, robot deliveries, the tech that reads your thoughts, and the $300 million pizzas. First off, let's talk about Google. And what's the fuss about Google, cookies, and the so-called demise of surveillance capitalism? So, as part of its Privacy Sandbox initiative last year, Google announced the demise of the third-party cookie from the Chrome browser. This is the mechanism that Google uses to follow and track your every move on the internet. It uses the data it collects to build a unique profile of you. Advertisers pay through an auction system to place their ads in front of you based on this profile. This is why you kind of suddenly start seeing ads for something that you've recently been looking at online. Now, a new startup called Neeva is offering an antidote in the form of a subscription-based search engine. And you can read my discussion with the founder of Neeva on my website at salesclub.space. Now, today, between them, Google and Facebook own something like 86% of online advertising revenues because of this ability to target personalized ads. They've monopolized this sector. And on top of that, Google's Chrome browser has over 60% of the market and is by far the most widely used. Earlier this month, when Google posted that it was the end of cookies, there was plenty of backslapping for them getting onto the privacy bandwagon. However, upon inspection, all is not quite as it seems with the Google proposals. Because whilst it is the case that Google will no longer track a user based on their individual browsing habits, this does not mean the end of surveillance-based behavioral advertising. The most prominent proposed change announced by Google is something called the FLoC, or Federated Learning of Cohorts, which frankly sounds pretty dodgy already. The concept of the FLoC is that instead of Google stalking you as an individual, they will track you as a member of a small group of very similar individuals, also known as a cohort. So based on your online movements, Google will put you into a small group of similar individuals and they will target the ads at that cohort rather than at you as an individual. Now, frankly, I'm not convinced that the end result will be that much different than what we get today. The incentives to gather and harvest personal information that will still be there on the Google business model. And these proposed changes do little to change the game for what is still the biggest first-party tracker on the internet, which is Google itself. In fact, there is an argument that by making Chrome more hostile to third-party trackers, the company simply increases its own monopoly advantages in the ad market even further. No doubt this will be a matter widely discussed at the upcoming antitrust hearings in the United States. In Crypto Corner, I look at Bitcoin and a recent research note from Deutsche Bank, which listed Bitcoin as the third largest currency in the world after the dollar and the euro. Now, if you think of Bitcoin as a payment method, its market capital of $1 trillion makes it more valuable than MasterCard and Visa combined, which is about $875 billion. However, this price volatility of Bitcoin makes it less suitable as a payment mechanism than as a store of wealth. Not that this has stopped Tesla from accepting payment in Bitcoin. At today's prices, an entry-level Model 3 would cost around 1.5 Bitcoin. Now, this valuation as the world's third or fourth largest currency is due to the bull run on the price of Bitcoin over the last 12 months. Last March, so a year ago, it was priced at around $5,000. And it's peaked at $60,000 early this month, and it's nudging there again now. Strictly speaking, comparing Bitcoin to the dollar or the euro is not an apples for apples comparison, but it serves to strengthen the narrative that Bitcoin is, in quotes, mainstream and now a viable alternative to gold as a store of wealth and a hedge against inflation. Now, as a little fun fact, when it comes to the world of Bitcoin, the world's first ever Bitcoin transaction was in 2010, about a year after Bitcoin was created. A computer programmer paid 10,000 Bitcoin for 2 pizzas in the world's first ever exchange of goods for Bitcoin. Back then, 10,000 Bitcoin was worth around $41. Today, it would be worth closer to $600 million. Not even Joey could eat that much pizza today. And finally, what are Facebook and Apple doing that's changing the way we interact with technology? Now, today we connect with computers through touch and speech. We issue commands using our fingers on a keyboard, mouse, or games controller, or by speaking directly to Alexa or Siri, which is fine if you're sat at a desk reading your mobile on the train or want Alexa to play the new album from Steps. But in the worlds of virtual and augmented reality, you are likely to be on the move, wearing a headset, or want your hands to be kept free. Now, I'm not talking about the extreme tech from Elon Musk's Neuralink that involves removing part of the skull to add a digital layer above the cortex. That's a post I'll cover in another issue. I'm talking about the tech that you wear. Sensors detect and interpret the signals that originate in the brain. Algorithms make sense of the signals, and the artificial intelligence instructs the technology to perform the action that you are thinking about. Two recent announcements from Apple and Facebook give us a taste of what's to come. Apple's announcement is for a mixed reality headset, meaning it can be used for both virtual reality and, in some cases, augmented reality. The headset will use eye tracking sensors to detect and analyze eye movement. Algorithms interpret the movement of your eyes and convert them into signals. These signals are converted using artificial intelligence to present the user with images and information in the headset based on where and what the eyes are focused on. Apple's tech is expected mid-next year and may even include iris recognition tech. This would mean that you could use Apple Pay to make in-game purchases with the blink of an eye. The news from Facebook Reality Labs is their latest prototype for a wristband virtual reality controller. This prototype controller is a neuromotor interface that is worn like a watch rather than held in the hand. The wristband intercepts electrical pulses traveling down the arm and through the wrist to the hand. These are the signals from the brain that move the hand or a finger to operate a mouse or keyboard or games controller in a conventional manner. The device can also support new gesture controls like pinching your thumb and index finger together to create a click. In this way, people can translate what they do on a regular computer into a new set of augmented reality-based gestures that Facebook someday hopes to expand into all sorts of controls and movements. Facebook even hopes to reimagine typing with the help of artificial intelligence to remove the need for a physical screen and keyboard. And finally, robot delivery services. I'll leave you with this clip.